Welcome to our custom space.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel Custom Carving and Epoxy UK. I hope you're all doing well. And LetsResin have sent me their 36 colour mica powder set and some deep pour to try as well. So I wanted to see what project I was going to do to hopefully use all of these colours and that deep pour resin. So all I've done so far is I've just mixed up a total of, I think it was 18 ounces, because that's what I think I'm going to need for the project that I've got in mind of this lovely resin. Really, really nice finish on it. It's gone through the debubbler and I can't see a single bubble in there. But I've been racking my brain as to what I can do. And it's actually been hurting the amount because I want to use every colour to really show off this colour range from LetsResin. And as I say, I've been racking my brain on what I'm going to do with it. And then I thought, do you know what? I really liked the sculler chart that I did with the alcohol inks. So let's do a brain color chart, and that way I should be able to see all of these micas, because the problem is when you get them in a box, and I'm going to show you in a second, the biggest problem I have is they're great in a box, and they are, because it keeps them neat and tidy. But once you open that box, he says, it's going to be proved wrong here, and there's going to be really cool stickers on them all, but no. So once you open that box, that is all you see. And again, sometimes they look very different when you add them to the resin. So I'm gonna first of all open all of these, otherwise it'll be an absolute pain in the video. And the plan is I'm going to do a brain with this deep pour resin, because again, deep pour is really great for keeping the details in without the bubbles. So I'm just going to take the foils off all of these. And then I'm going to do a brain in each colour, and then we're going to have a brain colour chart. So I always know if I need that particular colour, which mica powder to use. So hopefully you're going to enjoy it. There's going to be a lot of mixing. I am going to try and fast forward it as much as possible so it's not a 2-hour video. And again, I'm using the deep pour because I want to keep the detail in these brain moulds. And these are just chocolate moulds. But I've used chocolate moulds quite successfully in the past with resin, so hopefully this is going to work. They don't tend to work very well with UV because they're often not clear or transparent. But I'll put a link to these if you want them as well. Just add in comments that you want a link to them. And I've thought of lots of different projects I can do with these brains. So hopefully it's going to be a fun project. So I'm just going to go and take all of the foils off these, and I'll be right back. But the great thing is they come with a little measuring scoop as well. So you get 4 different measuring scoops in there as well with the LetsResin 36 mica kit. So I'm just going to take all of those foils off, and then we're going to get mixing. So here we go, guys. I've taken all of the foils off, and then by the side, if you can just see, I've set up 36 of these. I've already mixed up 18 ounces of this deep pour resin, again from LetsResin. So it's going to be really interesting now. So all I'm going to try and do is keep these cups at the side in the same order that I've got them in the box, so that I know what colour's what. And we're going to go through the colours individually so you get to see all of the different range. This one is watermelon. And all I'm going to do is put 2 level mica scoops of each in each of these pots, and then we're going to add the resin and mix. So this is that watermelon, and again, just so that they're all relatively even, I want to keep these level scoops like that and hopefully not mix them everywhere. So that's 1, and that is 2 of those watermelons. So it's going to be a bit of a time consuming process, guys. So I'm going to fast forward where I can, but I'm going to go through each of the colours. So this is fuchsia. The plan is as well, is providing I've got a little bit spare, which I should, is to put a dot of each onto these lids as well when I've done, so that hopefully I can just see visually by looking at the pots as well as my colour charts, which one's which, and it makes it a lot easier. So the next one I've got is dark violet. And if you want to skip to the end, feel free to do so, because I know that this is a long process. This is wine. This one is seashell, blue violet. And we're on to the second row. Yellow, which is great because I don't actually have a yellow mica at the minute. And I've been wanting one for some of my blooms, so that's good. Copper, Again, if you're feeling adventurous, guys, you can always mix up your micas and make your own unique colours as well. But again, this is quite a good range of colours, so hopefully it will give me some great ideas for some blooms. This is bronze. And as I say, any spare that I've got at the end, I've got a drip mould at the side of me, which I've not tried before, which is a dog that hopefully is going to look a bit like Reggie, and we'll see what we get. This one is orchid, brown, and the last one in this row is dark green. Third row, come on. This one's chestnut, grey. Again, this is why I've used deep pour for this project, because even though I've got it quite deeply poured into those cups, it shouldn't cure up too quickly. If I did this with 1-to-1, the amount of time that this is taking, it probably cured in the cups. Next one's black, and again, it's just important I'm putting these back in the box the way that I'm getting them out, otherwise I won't remember what colour's what. Next is light yellow. This one's spring green, and then the last one in this row is blue. There we go, we are now halfway. Oh dear. This one is gold pink, and I'm really hoping that this is worth the effort at the end. Things I do so that you guys don't have to. That is the gold pink. Sky blue. And I know that these little cups that I'm using at the minute on the side aren't really in view, but when I get to pouring them, you'll see the true colours anyway. This is just because I've got a very limited workspace, and I want to make sure that I get enough resin in each of these pots to ensure that there's enough for a brain. The next one is dark magenta, and these brain chocolate moulds, they're only about 1/4 of an ounce. Just over 1/4 of an ounce, I think, when I did the water testing. So I'm hoping to have enough spare to fill this 4-ounce dog mould at the side of me. And hopefully it'll come out with a really cool design with all of these colours in. Next one's coffee, my favourite drink. And then I've got an idea of what I'm going to do with these brains when they're done as well, so that I can actually display them in a colour chart. So the next one is lawn green. It's also great if you do custom orders, because once this is done, you can just take a picture of it and send your customers a picture of it and say, what colours do you want? And it gives them that choice. And you should, if you mix it the same way every time, be able to get exactly the same colours every time. Next one is just pink. And again, just make sure you tap your mica scoop, because you want to get all of it out so that you're not cross-contaminating your colours. Next one is crimson. We're down to the last 2 rows now, guys, so we're getting there. But you do get a good variety of colours. I'm already seeing that in these micas. The differences, and even the slight differences between the reds and the pinks and the greens and the blues, are looking really, really nice. Next is purplish red. The other reason to do this as well is when you're stuck for ideas on what colours you're going to use in a project, whether it be a bloom or anything else, you can just have a look at what these are going to look like next to each other and see if you think they're going to be compatible. Next is white. And I am going to pour one of these clear first, just to see roughly what level it needs to be at to get a full brain. I'm guessing it's going to be about 1/4 of one of these, but I'm not sure. Next one is peach. And if you're still here after just listening to me listing off the different colours, guys, I really appreciate you. Do me a favour. Like and subscribe to the channel, help us grow, you know, share it, give it a thumbs up, put something in comments so that we can keep giving you this content. Membership's also open as well, so if you want to join membership, it would be greatly appreciated. Goldenrod, really like the look of this one actually, goldenrod. Looks like a slightly more orangey gold than I normally use. Next one is medium purple, and we're getting there, there's only 6 more now. So if you made it this far, stay till the end. Right, last row, and we have got tangerine. Looks like a really vivid orange actually, this tangerine. Next one is purple. Next is gold. Last 3, what have we got left? So we got dark blue. I'm loving the way that these are looking already before I've even put any resin in. Just the differences in colours. And don't forget, if you want to get yourself some of these or anything from LetsResin, there are affiliate links in the description. Click on those, it'll get you some money off. and it also supports the channel. I've put the UK and the US links in there as well. Next one is cyan, and then the final colour. And I am running out of space on my workspace, but there we go. So the final colour is green. Okay, now for the next bit is try and create some space so I can actually work. Oh dear, I wish I had a bigger workspace. So I'm just going to put the box exactly the way that I've done it here. And then that way I know that if I do put a drop on each, as long as I do it in that order, I should be okay. So again, if you can see at the side, I'm going to give you a better view actually, because I think it's important that you see what I'm doing. So here we go. So this dog mould is going to be my spare drip mould for any spares that I've got, and it just fits on my worktop. But as you can see, I'm using the whole of the space here. So I've put the box there. These are all those different colours, and I'm going to try and split this resin evenly between them. And as I say, I think I'm going to have some excess, because I think these brains will only take up about 1/4 ounce. So again, I'm just looking at the way that I've positioned these brains, and it's going to be easier if I turn them around so that there's 6 per row, which will help me remember what colours I've used with which brain. But again, now I'm just going to try and pour this resin evenly in each, and then I'm going to get you guys a better shot. So here we go, and I'm doing this by eye, so let's hope I can get it right. And I'm going to go for about 1/4 of the way initially, and then I can always fill them up more afterwards, but I'm just going to try and get 1/4 of them filled with each one, and I think I probably will be able to get away with halfway. And then it'll be interesting to see if those 2 scoops of mica are enough to give me a nice opaque colour. And I must say, this is a labour of love. Just the amount of time that this is taking, but hopefully in the long run it's going to be worth it, because I can just look at the colours and go, actually they're the colours that I want to use, or send them to any potential customers and say, here you go, take your pick, what colours do you want in your project? Right, so that is the first cup done, and again I'm using the deep pour, so hopefully we shouldn't have any problems with it curing up quickly. And that's the thing, if I did this with a 1-to-1, by now this resin would have started to cure. Okay, and again just trying to do it about 1/4 of the way with each of these little cups, and I'm hoping that that is going to be enough to do one of these brains. But I am going to do one clear as well, so it should tell me roughly if I'll have enough. But if they are what I think they are, which is 1/4 ounce, then I've overdone it, which is good. So that is the next cup, and now we've got the last one. So here we go. And I can see they're not perfectly even the amount that I've poured in each, but they don't need to be for something like this. There just needs to be enough. Oops, that one nearly fell over. So all of these are at least 1/4 full now, which is what I wanted. I'm just looking around, see if any are particularly low, and then I'm going to top those up a tiny bit, because I want to make sure I've got at least enough to do 1 brain per colour. I'm just looking around, see if any look particularly shallow. I don't think they do. I think I've judged it reasonably well. And that is pretty much all of those. And I'm hoping I've got enough in here to just test my theory that 1/4 cup is going to be enough. So I'm just going to get another one of these. Like so. And then I'm going to fill it 1/4 of the way with this resin that I've got left. And then see if it's enough to fill one of these chocolate moulds. It should be, hopefully. So I'm just getting those level. I'm going to try and get you a better picture of this as well. There we go. So now I'm going to move the camera, and if you can hear the wind in the background, it is really windy in the UK at the minute. So here we go. So I've got one of these clear ones. I'm going to fill it 1/4 of the way which is pretty much what I've put in the rest in them. I'm just checking that. That is a quarter of the way, and hopefully that's going to be enough to fill one of these. So I'm going to do it on this bottom one in the corner, just so that I'm not mixing it up with the colours. So this I know is a quarter of the way full, and that is about perfect. There's a tiny drop left in that, so I know that I should have enough now to do all of those colours. So now the slightly tedious or fun part, depending on how you look at it, is the mixing stage. And all I'm going to do for that is just use one of these cocktail sticks so that I can just wipe it off in between. And I think that's going to be the fastest way to do it, is just to use this cocktail stick, stir them around in the pot, and then have a wipe ready just to wipe it off in between. And then I'm going to pour it straight away. And any spare drips, as I say, I've got this dog mould, which actually I'm going to try and swap around with these empty cups and have it at the side so that we can get a better look. So there's this guy. And again, it's the first time I've used that mould. I think it's actually a candle mould, but we'll see how it turns out. So the biggest thing here is to make sure I do it in the same order so that I know what order, what colour's what. So the first one I'm going to do is this one. And again, it's just a case of for each one of these now, mixing that mica around thoroughly into that resin, just for a couple of minutes, making sure you get all the powder, and that should give you the colour. And I'm not too fussed about adding any bubbles either, because this is deep pour, so it's got plenty of time over the 2 days of curing for the bubbles to release themselves. So this is that first one, and look at that lovely colour. But again, just wanting to make sure it's thoroughly mixed like that, and then it's just going to be a case of pouring each brain. So that is that first one. And then all I'm going to do with the tiniest drop of it is, before I go any further and wipe this off, is get the pot out of the box, like so. And this first one is watermelon. So I'm just going to get literally a drop of watermelon and put it on there. So I know, looking at the box when they're all in there, that that is going to be the watermelon one. And again, hopefully that's just going to make it simpler. Wipe off my stick, and that is now ready for the next one. And then I'm just going to put this back in the box in the same position that I got it out from. There we go. And then it's time to pour the first brain. So the first one is going to be a watermelon brain. There we go. I'm going to try and get it all the way to the top, because I want these to be reasonably flat for the second part of the project. There we go. I'd say that is now full. And then the spare is just going to go into this dog mould, no particular order, all the way around. And I think all of these colours, they won't stay separate. They're all going to blend together, which will be interesting to see what results it sort of makes in this dog. So there we go. First one done. Now I'm going to repeat the process for each of them, but I am going to speed it up for you guys so that you don't have to stay in a 3-hour video. So I'm going to fast forward this now for each one of these colours, exactly the same process, and we'll see where we get to at the end. But don't forget, like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm going to put the QR code up there as well, so it gives you the option to just point your phone at the TV and it should take you straight through to that subscribe.
Welcome to our custom space where dreams take flight. Positive visions come to life. It's a perfect sight. We born together, blooming three, resin family. Testing Micas, new creations, we set the free. Join our journey, like and subscribe. This is our place. Ocean seas to dragons and blooms, we carve with grace.
And then I'll show you what everything looks like. And then it's just going to be a case of waiting a couple of days for it to cure before we can move on to the next stage. There we go. And just drip the rest in here, and it should completely fill this dog mould. And I'm excited to see what that turns out like. Let's say 36 different micas in that. Probably something I'll never do again, but it's going to be really interesting just to see what it turns out like. So, before I go any further, I'm going to get rid of these pots. Look at that for waste. And then I'm just going to use a long neck lighter to get rid of any bubbles on the surface. So literally just using a long neck lighter, any bubbles should then be gone. Oops, and I have slightly overfilled this dog, guys. So actually, I'm just a little bit concerned about that surface tension. So what I'm going to try and do is wedge something underneath, because that is full to the brim. So I've just got one of these sticks, and I'm going to try and gently wedge it just slightly underneath and see what happens. And that's pushing that resin just slightly down to the front, and now it's overflowing at the front, so no. Oh, don't overfill your moulds. But that's the great thing about this mat it's on. Anyway, it should collect any drips. We're just going to finish going over all of these to make sure there's no bubbles. It's like a flamethrower, this long nose lighter, but there we go. Still better than using an actual torch, I think. There, and then on the dog as well. But I'm really intrigued as to what that dog's going to come out like. So I'm just going to give you a closer look. So this is inside the box. All of those lids have just had a drop. This is those brains, and they're going to be really interesting as they cure. All 36 different colours, and then all 36 different micas in this dog mould. So we're going to see what they cure like, and then we'll come back for the next step in this colour chart in a couple of days. But again, thanks for watching. Thanks to LetsResin for sending me these products to test as well. And if you like the content, don't forget, like and subscribe to the channel. And hey guys, and we're back, and it's 2 days later. So these have all nicely cured, and I can't wait for this. So yeah, we're going to go through the brains first and see all those different colours. So I'm just going to start with the clear one. And there we go. Lovely crystal clear resin, but it's a matte mould, which you sometimes get with these chocolate moulds, but that's not going to be an issue for what I've got planned. So looks like a brain to me, looks pretty cool. So let's demould the rest of them. I'm going to try and keep them in the same spot so I know where they are. And again, look at these colours. Now, as you can see, the matte gives it a very different look, but we are going to get that shine back in the next stage. So just going to demould these, and then I can demould the dog and we can move on to the next step. But I'm loving these colours. And actually, I think they might look cool matte if I left them matte, so then you can see the matte effect as well. But as you can see, all of these little tiny brains, completely different colours. And if I was to do it again, you know, it might be worth doing one set matte, one set gloss, but I'm not going to do that because this took best part of nearly 2 hours just to mix all of these different colours. Love that purpley blue one there. That's stunning. And as you can see, I'm trying to leave them in the same mould that they came out of. And look at that yellow. I'm definitely going to be using that in some blooms, because the key is here, I don't want to muck up the order of these brains. Otherwise, it's not going to work for the colour chart because I'm not going to know which colour's which. But as you can see, they come out perfect. So if you've not used a chocolate mould before as well, they're often cheaper than your resin moulds, and you can still get crazy details like these in them. The only thing is, often they are matte rather than gloss, but there is a way to fix that, which is simply put a bit more gloss over them and then they get the shine back, which I am probably going to do for this project. But I think they've come out really well. I'm really happy with them. And as you can see, virtually no bubbles that I can see on these, which is great because that's what I wanted. So it takes a while to demould them all as well, as well as mixing them all. So it's a bit of a long demould, and I have got a live tonight, so I've got to get a move on to give myself a chance to hopefully get something to eat before the live. And if you didn't know, on the channel, every Tuesday we try and do a live at 8 PM UK time with a different resin artist, just to talk about their journey on YouTube, and hopefully to answer any resin questions that you might have. So if you are free on a Tuesday evening, feel free to spend it with us. I say 3 PM EST or 8 PM UK is the time. But I'm really happy with these brains. First part of the project looks like it's gone well, and I'm intrigued to see what this dog is going to look like, because remember, that had all 36 of these colours in it. And it's going to be really cool just to see the different colours. And I had one speck of mica powder there from one of the other colours, but it shouldn't matter because, as I said, this is just going to be a colour chart to give me an idea of these different colours, what goes with each other and what doesn't. But you can see they're all very different colours, even the pinks and the blues. That's a nice red actually in the mattes. I think this was the purplish red if memory serves correct. But again, if it's your first time to the channel as well, do me a favour. The only way we grow is if you hit that like button and subscribe. I'm going to put the QR code just there. So if you're watching on your telly, all you have to do, point your phone at the TV, open the link, and it should take you straight to the subscribe option on the page. That's lovely as well, that purple. But these are going to, you've seen the matte effect now. These are really going to come to life, I think, when I add a bit more resin onto them to bring the shine back, which is what you have to do if you've got a matte effect mould. But I actually quite like these in matte as well. I still think we've got those amazing colours coming through. Look at that. Stunning. And if I remember, and if you want it, I'll try and link these brain moulds as well in the description. So these are the brains, and I think they've all come out really well. So I'm just going to move those to the side. And then if you remember, I poured all 36 of these micas into this dog mould, which reminded me a little bit of Reggie. I don't know if it's meant to be a bulldog or what it's meant to be. First time I've used it, and as you saw, it was just that spare resin. So we're going to demould it and see what we've got with all of those micas. It's probably something I'll never, ever, ever do again. And I'm hoping that this isn't a matte mould, but I think it is. So we'll have to do the same to him. But I absolutely love that. Look at that. Look at his little face. I'm going to add a few embellishments to his face, actually. Mainly the eyes, I think. But I love those colours. And look at that. Absolutely stunning. And that dog reminds me a bit of Reggie, but it's got all 36 of those micas in there just mixed around. Look at that. What do you think? And again, I think it is a matte mould, but you can't really tell it's that colourful. Again, I'm probably going to coat it the same as I'm going to do these brains just to bring the shine out on him and see if it makes a difference. But I'm loving that. But I am going to add a few embellishments, not too many. I think the nose and the eyes, just so that they stand out. Maybe the little claws that you can see there as well. But let me know what you think in comments to that. Absolutely stunning. But yeah, we're going to mix up some more resin and then get on to the next part. So I'll see you guys in a second. And I just wanted to add some little details to this dog before I decided to make him shiny again. And luckily, LetsResin also sent me an acrylic marker set. So I just thought, just to highlight some of these details, I would use these markers before we put the resin on. But I'm loving the way he's come out as well with all of those colours. So I've got this 36 colour acrylic marker set from LetsResin, and I just thought it'd be great to use this just to add in a few of those details. And as you can see, there's quite a colour range in this. You've got 36 colours, which is amazing. They look a bit like felt tips to me. And you get the fine point as well as the larger brush point on them. But again, great range of colours, and I've got lots of ideas on what I can do with these in future projects as well. And again, if you want anything from LetsResin, go in the description. There's a link to the UK and the US website, and get yourself some money off. And if you want to use the discount code as well, it is CCUK. So I'm just looking at what colours I'm going to use, and I think I'm just going to highlight mainly the eyes and maybe a couple of extra bits. So I'm getting the white out, I'm getting the black out, and then I'm looking at Reggie and he's got brown eyes, so I'm going to try and put some brown in there as well, and maybe some pink for these paw pads on the back. So just going to use 4 of these colours to see how we get on first of all. But again, thank you to LetsResin for sending me these as well. And I've got lots of different projects that I'm thinking of using these with. And as long as you can colour in the lines, I think there's loads you can do with these. So the first bit I'm going to do is get the white and colour in the whites of the eyes. And again, it's the first time I've used these. First time I've done it with this mould. So you'll have to excuse me if it's not perfect. but we're going to go for it. And I'm just pressing down on it to get the paint into the nib, and then I'm going to try and get you a decent view, but it's hard to do whilst drawing and getting those details in. And as you can see, it's just like using a felt tip. So just really trying to colour in the whites of the eyes. And it's a really strong colour, but I've seen other people use these as well. Now they can be layered, but they don't blend. So if you're wanting blending, they might not work for you, but it's great that you can layer them. And I'm thinking about possibly in the future trying a multi-layered drawing with them, with layers of resin in between to give us that 3D effect. And I'm not the best drawer, but we'll see how that goes in the future. But as you can see, just colouring in the eyes. And yeah, I'm liking these. First eye done. And now the second. And don't forget, do me a favour, like and subscribe to the channel. For those of you watching on the telly, the QR code is in the top left corner. And it makes such a difference. Really trying to push and grow the channel this year. The more we grow, the more of this we can do. I'd love to get to the point at some point in the future where I can do a video every day for you guys. At the minute though, with working full time, creating these videos and editing these videos, unfortunately, 2 videos and a live is pretty much all I can squeeze in, but who knows what the future holds. But I need your support, so I need you to like and subscribe. If you can, memberships are also open as well. And memberships basically give you access to all of the content, all of the videos earlier than it goes out to the public. But also you go into a monthly prize draw where you win a piece of my art every month, and it gets shipped to you wherever you are in the world. So for the cost of a coffee, it supports the channel as well and helps us grow. So go to the channel homepage and click on join membership. So that's the whites done. Now I'm just going to move on to the blacks for the pupil of the eyes and probably the nose. And again, it's just to highlight just a couple of these features before we go on and cover him in resin to bring that shine out of this matte mould. And I do think it's starting to look like Reggie. What do you think? Let me know in comments. But again, just colouring in the nose. And again, sorry about the camera angle. It's just not the easiest thing to do. Colour something like this in whilst getting you the angle as well. So, but there we go. And you can see the black is going on really well, covering that nose. And there we go. Happy with that. Now I'm just going to try and draw the pupils, I think, in the eyes. In fact, no, I'm not. I'm going to draw the brown on there, I think, first. But I'm happy with the way that black's looking on the nose. And for the next bit, I'm just having a look. Looking at the nails and wondering if I want to do something with those. I don't think I do, but I want to do something with these paw pads. So I'm going to use the pink, because naturally I think dogs tend to have pinkish paw pads, although Reggie's got pink and black. But again, he's also not a 36 multicoloured dog, so this isn't going to be a like-for-like impression of Reggie. So I'm just colouring in these paw pads on this mould. And again, let me know in comments, because I know the last few videos have been longer videos to try and get you guys all of the details. Let me know, do you prefer the longer content videos or do you prefer the shorter ones? Because again, I've noticed that strangely on the channel, even though we're growing in subscribers, the views seem to be going down. And I don't know if that's because my latest videos are longer than usual, but let me know if you think that they're too long, or if you like this type of video, so it gives you the full step-by-step process. And here we go. Now I'm just going to go in with the brown for the eyes, because Reggie does have brown eyes. And again, you can probably tell I'm not an artist. I'm not the greatest at drawing, but I think with these markers and these molds, it makes it so simple. You know, anybody can do this. It's just a case of giving it a try, you know, and the more you do, the better you get. But also realise not every project's going to go the way that you want. So there's the brown in his eyes. And he's got big sad eyes, this dog mould. So it actually reminds me a little bit of when Reggie gets told off and knows he's been a little bit naughty. Which, unfortunately, is most days. And here we go. So I'm just going to go back in with the black now, just to put the pupils onto the eyes. And it shows you that, as I say, with these acrylic markers, they can be layered as well, which is great. And again, I didn't even leave these to fully dry before I went on with the next coat. But I think they'd be really interesting to try and do that 3D project with layers of resin. Let me know what you think. And I'm pretty happy with that. I think they look like eyes. And I think once we've got resin over it to give it an extra shine, I think they'll look really cool. Again, in this multicoloured, 36 coloured dog. So yeah, really like these markers. Again, get yourself a set. I think there's lots of different uses that I can think of for them. And again, use the links in the description and use the discount code CCUK to get yourself some money off. So we're back, and always remember when you're working with resin, get that PPE on, get your gloves on, and get your respirator on. But I've mixed up, as I say, 600 ml of this beautiful deep pour resin. And I think that will give me enough of a layer to put the brains in. And I'm using the table mold that I used in the 3D Bloom table. So if you've not watched that video, go back and watch it. Had an amazing result in it. And the idea here is this should also help bring the shine back. So I'm just going to pour in a thin layer, first of all, just to make sure there's some resin that's completely covered that base. I'm just moving it around in the mould to make sure I've got a thin layer all over. And yes, you have got voiceover, Andy, at the minute, because had a few issues with the recording equipment. Hopefully that'll be fixed on the next one, but hopefully it's not too bad. So there we go. We've got that nice thin layer all the way around. And this is part of the project that actually usually worries me, because it's about getting the placement right so that it doesn't look completely uneven. So I'm going to get these brains and try and arrange them in a way that they look reasonably evenly spaced out, because again, there's nothing worse. So I've got this clear one, and I'm probably going to try and use that as a spacer initially to try and get these brains in the mould reasonably evenly. And if you can see, they're still matte at the minute, but as soon as they start touching the resin and I pour resin over, they're going to go lovely and glossy. So again, this is all about positioning. And I thought at this point, just to try and get it reasonably even, I would use the clear transparent brain that I had as a bit of a spacer between them. And that way they should have a reasonably even spacing. And there is 36 that I've got to fit in here. So I'm just going to organise these. I'm going to fast forward it for you guys as well, so that you're not watching a 3-hour video. Yeah, we're going to fast forward so you're not stuck here watching. But basically, this is all about organising them and getting them in the right order. And there we go. I'm pretty happy with that. Loving all of those colours. And now, before we go any further, I just want to show you the how we're going to bring the shine back. And look at this. Just cover it in a bit of resin, and you get that wonderful shine back. And it takes it from matte, to shiny. So again, as I pour the resin over these, with it being deep pour, I'm not too fussed that it's going to affect the design, because it should completely go into the base after giving them a light covering. And I've just thought I need to do the same with this dog mould as well. So all I'm going to do is dip my fingers in the resin and rub it all over, basically, and hopefully it will give them a lovely shine. It'll also protect those eyes and the other little details that I put in with the acrylic markers. And it doesn't take a lot, so really thin coat, as you can see, rubbing it all over with my gloves. This is actually kind of the fun part of the project for me. And you can see that lovely shine. And hopefully as he cures, it will keep that shine and get rid of the matteness of the mould. But just make sure you get it everywhere, because anywhere where you don't get it, it will show up. But I'm loving all of the colours in this dog, and I think he's going to be one of my favourite pieces when he's done, just because he looks like Reggie. But there we go. So there we go. That's completely covered now. Just making sure. And you may get a few drips on this at the end, but they're easy enough to sand off, and it gives us that lovely glossy, shiny finish. And there we go. Happy with that. So I'm just going to put him on the side. And then we're going to pour the rest of this resin over these brains and let it cure. And as I'm pouring it over the brains, I can already see that they're going from matte to more of a gloss, shiny finish. And I'm just making sure that initially I'm pouring some over every brain, as you can see, to make sure that we get that nice shiny finish on each and every brain. And don't forget, if you're still here, make sure that you like and subscribe. And if you're liking the content, do you know what? If you've got any ideas on what you want us to do on future videos, put it in comments, and we're going to try our best to make it happen. And if you're free at 8 PM UK time on a Tuesday, which I think is 3 PM EST, we try and do a live every week. So again, if you've got your own YouTube channel and you want to come on so that the community gets to know you, we'd love to have you on. So just drop me an email, send me a message in the Discord, whatever's easier, and we'll make that happen as well. We had Michelle from Glitz and Glitter over the past few weeks as well, and it's just great to get to know different artists and what got them into resin and find out more about their journey. So that's every Tuesday on the channel, 8 PM UK time, 3 PM EST. Hopefully we'll see you there. But there we go. That is now completely covered in the resin. I think there's enough of a layer. I'm going to get rid of these gloves because they're completely covered in resin. Top tip for you, just grab one from the base like this, pull it over, and then you can just pull the other one over it without getting resin all over your hands. There we go. So fresh pair of gloves going on, I think. Just going to give it a quick torch to get rid of any bubbles. And we're going to leave this to cure up, as I say, for 2 days, because it is deep pour. So I'm going to leave it to cure for 2 days, then we'll come back and see what it looks like. But at the minute, I'm really happy with the way it's looking.
Hi everyone, and we are back, and it is time to look at the finished product and demold this brain mica color chart. So I'm excited for this. Let's look at the dog first though. Look at that. And I think those acrylic markers made a really cool little eyes for him. And as you can see, just top coating it, even with that deep coat, has given it a lovely shine. So I've got a couple of bits where it's obviously dripped on the bottom, which I'm going to sand off. But apart from that, I think this dog has come out really cool with those 36 different colours of mica powder all in there. So I'm going to get you guys a few close-up shots of them as well. But I'm absolutely loving those colours. and his little face. And I think even the eyes came out really well. And that was obviously using those acrylic markers. And that's just a really good use for them, I think. Just adding those little highlights adds a bit of detail to the resin before you pour the resin over. Now, I've got a few more projects I'm going to be doing with those as well, but I absolutely love this dog, the way it's come out. So let me know what you think about him in comments. And now for this brain colour chart. Hopefully it has cured. So I'm just going to go around the edge and demould. And I'm hoping it's probably still a tiny bit soft because it's not been the full 48 hours, but it should be good enough to demould at this point, I think. Probably should wait another 8 hours or so, but I'm going to go for it because, you know me, I'm impatient. And the idea behind this is lovely. I mean, look at that. Crystal clear resin and all of those little brains, different colours from those mica powders. And again, they come out really nice and glossy now. But the idea is with this colour chart is when I'm starting to think about colours, I've got a few sort of plastic sheets because one of the most frustrating things for me is when I'm thinking of blooms is what colour do I do the back? So it's dead straightforward now. I can have a look by just sliding this onto another colour sheet and giving me the idea of what these colours will look like with a different backing. And I think it should work really well. Again, I've got a red one now as well. So that's the idea, is every time I need to know what colour back I should do on a bloom or something like that, I can just look at the colours that I'm going to be using and put them on a different backing and see what that colour is going to look like with that backing. So I think it's come out really well. Love the deep pour from LetsResin. Love these 36 different colours of mica powder, and I'm going to be experimenting so much with them. Again, the acrylic markers as well. I've got lots of ideas for those going forward. But let me know what you think in comments. And do me a favour, like and subscribe to the channel. And if you want anything from LetsResin, both of those links are in the description for the US and the UK. But I'm really happy with the way that that's turned out. So I'm just going to let it fully cure now and fully harden up. And then I'm going to hang it on the wall and get you some close-ups. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one.
Welcome to our custom space where dreams take flight. Upon visions coming to life, it's a perfect sight. We born together, blooming three, resin family. Testing Micas, new creations, we set them free. Join our journey, like and subscribe, this is our place. Ocean seas to dragons and blooms, we carve with grace. Welcome to custom carving, where dreams come true. Epoxy magic flowing just for me and you. Masterpieces rising, crafted with our hands. Testing new colors in the sparkland. We're all your reflexing, carving dreams come true. Oh yeah. Together we learn part and carve right through. Welcome to custom carving, where fun's in the air. Epoxy and laughter is everywhere. Jogging through colors, crafting trees from our heart to guns. Building our masterpieces with the magic style. Where all your epoxy